Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Netflix's new film, The Woman in the Window. Because this movie finally came out. Because this has been floating around. I remember seeing these trailers a year ago. And this finally is coming around. Netflix bought it. And I was wondering about that. And after seeing it, I'm like, this is the kind of trashy thriller that Netflix would eat up. And you know what? People are probably going to eat this up on Netflix and get it a lot of views. But is it a good movie? That's the question. And let's talk about it. This is from director Joe Wright, who had Darkest Hour, had Atonement, Pride and Prejudice, Hannah. So he's shown that he's done different kinds of films, and he has a very distinct style about him. He brings a vision to his films, and you have Tracy Letts doing this screenplay, and I'm a huge fan of Tracy Letts. I'm glad to see him pop up in the film as well as an actor, as a psychiatrist. And you had Danny Elfman doing the score for this film, and you could definitely feel some textures and interesting things going on with the score in the film. And Bruno Del Bonell, who did the cinematography, there's a specific intriguing eye about this film. And there's one particular sequence in the last, 30 minutes of this movie that is so, it felt like an action sequence from The Road Warrior with it sped up, the frame rate. And not gonna lie, it came off really, really cheesy and silly to me, and I wanted to laugh more than I felt terrified for the characters involved in this sequence. And I'm just okay. And I was just really surprised by that sequence, because the thing is, in general, it was shot really, really well. The framing, the shot choices, that kind of stuff. But the frame rate and how jerky it was made it seem I thought the Benny Hill movie music was going to start playing in the background. And I'm I don't think this worked. It cut the tension out of the whole entire climax of the film, which we'll get there. But this film is stacked. Amy Adams is this agoraphobic woman who's stuck in her apartment in New York, and she's communicating with her separated husband, Anthony Mackie, over the phone, and their neighbors move in, Gary Oldman, Julianne Moore, the son played by Fred Hetchinger, but all of a sudden Julianne Moore has this connection with Amy Adams, and then she sees her being murdered, and then Jennifer Jason Leigh's no, I'm this woman, and it's just are you? And then you have other, Wyatt Russell's in this. He's a tenant in Amy Adams' building. You have Brian Tyree Henry, who's a detective on the case. You just have a lot of people involved in this movie. There's way too much talent here between directing and writing and score and cinematography and the acting for this movie to be a bit of a hot mess. And I was honestly pretty engrossed for a decent amount of this film. Amy Adams is great. She is putting on a really fantastic performance. You're seeing this darker edge of Wyatt Russell. I would have been really surprised about this if it wasn't for the fact that Falcon and the Winter Soldier actually came out before this. Because I would never have seen this side of Wyatt Russell, but now I have, and it works. Gary Oldman's doing a big overacting job in this. Julianne Moore's great for the sequences she's in, and everybody's doing their jobs, and Fred Hetchinger is interesting in his performance. And as the film goes on, there's some interesting things that happen with his character that you're just well, that's strange. And he commits to a very offbeat, weird performance in the film, and I guess it fits to where this film goes, but where this film goes, I don't know if I buy. And it feels so convenient, and it's beautifully shot and well put together, and there's just so many beat you over the head homages to Alfred Hitchcock in this film, and it's just okay, Joe Wright, we get it. You've watched Rear Window a lot. And it feels like that. There's even a shot where, because like Amy Adams watches a lot of movies because she just sits around in her apartment all day, and like her building all day, and she watches movies, and Rear Window was one of them at one point. And I have to say though, there's one particular scene in this film that was beautiful and emotionally impactful and just blew me away, and I'm just like, I thought this movie wasn't supposed to be good. And then it started unraveling from there. But this particular scene hit me hard, and I was really impressed. And that's what makes this film so frustrating. There's so much great things going on, and then so many things that make absolutely no sense, and just are out of left field, and you're just like, the only way this makes sense is by just the film telling us that it all makes sense. And it's just like, no, it doesn't. But in the end, I feel like The Woman in the Window is that kind of like trashy, crazy kind of soap opera-y kind of thriller that if you're into stuff like that, check this out. It's on Netflix. You'll probably have a fun time with it. But if you're not into those kinds of things, this might, by the end, turn out to be a really hard watch for you. But in the end, very in the middle kind of feeling about this film. Don't particularly like it. Don't particularly hate it. There's elements that I love about it. There's elements I hate about it. But in the end, it just kind of is meh. But those are my thoughts on The Woman in the Window. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.